What's up, everybody? This is Suresh from Mind is a Monkey coming at you guys with another episode of Let's Check Out Some Diecast. In today's video, we are going to be checking out the 2025 Matchbox Moving Parts Mix G or Mix 7, whichever way you want to call it. And it's a pretty interesting mix because out of a total of 6 castings, 5 are brand new toolings for Matchbox Moving Parts. So I found that pretty exciting. So, this is something that I have also seen with earlier mixes of Matchbox Moving Parts. What I'm trying to say is there was a lull, between the last time we had Matchbox Moving Parts and now when we got the more recent assortments. It's almost like saying when it rains, it pours, because, mixes G, H, and apparently some of the 2026 mixes have all, started reaching the retail market at the same time. Yeah, so much so that I had to look up online pictures to find out which casting belongs to which mix, right? So that seems to be some prevailing pattern going on with Matchbox Moving Parts. But hey, I was very excited to find some new Matchbox Moving Parts, and the fact that it's a fully loaded set with a lot of new toolings got me really excited. Now, with regards to the mix, we have a 2004 Ford Excursion, a 1963 Ford Thunderbird, a 1984 Rover SD1 Vitesse, a 2024 Maserati Gran Turismo Folgore, or Folgore, not sure, and a 1994 Ford F-150 SPD Lightning, and a 2018 Ford Focus RS. Now, as I said earlier, out of the 6 castings, the 2018 Ford Focus RS is the only recolor of a previous tooling, right? So with the exception of that, all the other 5 are brand new toolings. Without further delay, let's dive right in. And something else that I wanted to call out today, I purchased these Rode wireless microphones in order to kind of like level up the audio quality of the video. So earlier I got some other lavalier microphone, but somehow wasn't very pleased with the audio level. This one has a lot of good ratings and recommendations for point and shoot videos, which is pretty much what I do here. So I'm very excited to have bought this, and I am looking forward to better audio quality in these videos. Please keep me posted with the feedback. Like, what do you think of the audio clarity? Do you hear a lot of noise? So on and so forth. Okay, thank you so much. Our first model today is a 2024 Maserati Gran Turismo Folgore, and this is a new model for 2025. So let's open it up. Awesome. Wow, I somehow, this one has a more shinier finish. You see what I mean? The card art, kind of suggests that it has a shinier finish, but the actual casting is more of a matte finish, which is kind of a bummer. But I think I kind of like really had my hopes high for that, metallic finish. But anyway, brand new casting, Maserati Gran Turismo Folgore, and the moving parts here are the doors. All right, so it's got that red interior, standard plastic interior. All right, so but very excited for this new model. So Maserati, the trident emblem right there, and Maserati, and that's Folgore and Gran Turismo specification. All right, so there we have the first model of the day, the 2024 Maserati Gran Turismo Folgore. Up next, we have another new casting for 2025 Matchbox Moving Parts, the 2004 Ford Excursion. Wow, so these two models, the real world version of these two models are 20 years apart. Right? Okay, let's open this one up. Awesome. So there we have a pretty beautiful metallic finish, right? Like a metal flake finish. I would have really liked this on the Maserati, the way they had depicted it in the card art. That's what I was referring to earlier. So a nice two-tone paint scheme on this one. So this is mostly part of the plastic base. And I think it looks like it's made of 3 parts. Yeah. Okay, so this is like the interior, and this is the casting itself, and it has a third part, which is the chassis. Okay, so the moving part in this casting is the hood. I'm trying to get it open. Okay, there we have it. Okay, so the hood reveals an engine bay. Pretty neat for that price point, I should say. And it has a beautiful Ford grille and nice shiny chrome grille. Okay, and no Easter eggs of any sort, just a standard Ford Excursion lettering right there. Okay, so there we have the 2004 Ford Excursion, our second model for the day. Up next, we have the 1994 Ford F-150 SVT Lightning. Pretty awesome. I know when Mattel released this in Hot Wheels, a lot of folks were very excited for this casting. I think this is one of those castings that a lot of current collectors may have had growing up, So this might have been in their family growing up. So that is why I think there's a lot of popularity among collectors for this particular casting. So there we have the Lightning lettering, the Ford F-150. And the moving part here is again the hood. So the hood reveals a pretty neat looking engine bay. All right, so lots of details on the various wiring between the parts. That's pretty cool. All right, classic Ford grille, and Ford Lightning on, yeah, that's Lightning. Ford and Lightning lettering on the back. And wow, oh wow, it has a second moving part, which I did not notice. Okay, but thankfully I did not miss it. All right, so it also has a second moving part. This is a pretty common pattern that we have seen in trucks like these, where they have this as a moving part too. So that's pretty cool. So, and not a lot of details on the bed. So typically Mattel likes to throw in a few details like a fuel tank or like a spare tire or something like that, but none on that one. Up next, our fourth model for the day is the 1963 Ford Thunderbird. Also a new casting, a new tooling for the Matchbox Moving Parts line. Fantastic. And again, with the exception of that, so far we have only had like opening hoods, and this one is also a opening hood. Wow, check that out. Like reveals an old school engine right there. So pretty neat, and I really like that detail of paint job. That's uniquely identifying those parts. Those tubes and all the pipes that are running there. So pretty awesome. All right, so there we have the 1963 Ford Thunderbird, a classic example of American muscle, and along with the style of a convertible. All right, so pretty simple chassis, and I think this is a very vintage paint scheme, so that's pretty cool. All right, okay, let's set it there. And our fifth model for today, another new model for this year, is the 1984 Rover SD1 Vitesse. All right, so this is actually the Rover that belongs to Jaguar, you guys. I mean, I had no clue, right? So, the Land Rover and the Range Rover. So this seems to be the same company. As you can see, Rover is a registered trademark of Jaguar Land Rover Limited and licensed by British Motor Heritage Limited, right? So that's pretty awesome. So this is the Rover that evolved into possibly the Land Rover and the Range Rover. So pretty cool. This almost looks like a sedan Rover, right? That's awesome. And I really like the, you know, I really like that logo. It's pretty retro. Okay, let's open it up. The moving part on this casting is again the hood. I am having a little bit of a difficulty opening it. Oh, so it's like a Datsun, you know? So it's not conventionally opening like this, but it opens the other way. Yeah, I think if my memory is right, a Datsun opens like that. All right, so it reveals an engine bay, some pretty neat detail for that price point, I should say, but very excited about this new model as such, right? So will it make more appearances in the mainline basics? You know, I mean, that is something that we'll have to wait and watch. And, you know, so that's apparently the logo there, and Rover SD1, and it says Rover and Vitesse on the lettering right there, and nice choice of wheels, looking very retro, although we gotta kind of like identify that difference. You know, this is actually, I think there is a wheel type in Matchbox for this, all right, but you know, the actual wheels on the car are different than the one that is depicted in the artwork. All right, so I found that interesting. All right, so maybe there would be a variation later with, you know, the wheels as depicted in the card art. And so that is something that we'll have to wait and find out. All right, anyway, that's our fifth model for the day. That's the 1984 Rover SD1 Vitesse. All right, pretty cool new model. Our last model in this mix is a recolor of a previously released tooling. It's the 2018 Ford Focus RS. All right. Another thing that I wanted to call out regarding this mix, which is like mix G or mix 7, is that I'm not really sure if this particular mix carries as Matchbox Super Chase, right? Now, you know, unfortunately, the wiki documentation, the fandom documentation for Matchbox Super Chases is not very thorough, or it's either that or it's not very current. So, you know, I mean, collectors are having a tough time finding out which Super Chase belongs to which specific mix, right? I did find pictures of a Chevy Monte Carlo, possibly a 1988 one, but I was really not sure, you know, if it belonged to this mix. Because, you know, I mean, a few weeks after these initially hit the market, I did end up finding a couple of, you know, cases, and they just had like 8 cars and neither of them had a chase. So I'm not really sure if, you know, that was just me being unlucky in finding that chase, or if that mix even has a chase. Okay, that's what I was trying to say. Anyway, so the last model for the day, the 2018 Ford Focus RS, where RS stands for Rally Sport, right? So check that out. The opening part again is the hood, right? So pretty cool addition, you know, but kind of like a very basic paint job, I would say. Not, you know, I mean, this could even be one of those factory colors that this particular model came out in. So there we have it, folks. The 6-car assortment of the Matchbox Moving Parts Mix G for 2025. And, you know, a common pattern that I found is that with the exception of the Maserati, pretty much everything is an openable hood. And, you know, the Maserati has opening doors. And in addition to the opening hood, this one also has, you know, like a bed latch that can open. So I think with regards to favorites, I think I'm going to go, this is probably going to be my number 1. All right, let me move them back a little. All right, so this is going to be my number 1 model, and possibly this is going to be my number 2, and all of them would be number 3. I really liked the Maserati, but I was kind of like bummed out by the matte finish of a paint job instead of a shiny metallic one. But other than that, pretty awesome set, I should say, right? So 6 castings and 5 new models. That's a win. So till I meet you guys next time, this is Suresh signing off. Rock on and stay awesome. Bye, everyone.